the beautiful people, which in particular is you. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Day 9 Daily number 394, where we learn to be a better gamer. Today, as I dolly myself forward, I am delighted to let you know we'll be covering Thorzain and his phenomenal Terran vs. Terran play, looking at his brilliant opening in a way that makes it stealable, and also talking about some of those mid and late game tactics that can be so ugly. Cool. Before we jump into the daily, let's talk about announcements. Next week's Fun Day Monday is a 1-2-3 for all. It's kind of like a mana battle. At the start of a free-for-all, you must publicly announce the one unit you will be building for the remainder of the free-for-all, and you may only build that one unit. You can build queens for hatches. Don't build a ton of queens, just queens for hatches. You can build overlords and overseers and observers for detection. You can mule, usual stuff, but just the one unit. Like sentries, you can only build sentries. When another player dies, and by that I mean leaves the game, then you may build a second unit, which you must publicly announce. And then when another player dies, you may then build a third unit. Catch my drift? That's why it is a 1-2-3 for all. What if I'm playing in a 12-person free-for-all? You have to stop at 3 units. Cool. And of course, this segues directly into the fact that on Sunday, we're going to be doing a subscriber event. Yeah! For all the North American subscribers. And I know you poor Europe folks are feeling neglected, but don't worry, because there'll be an announcement coming for you beautiful people too. For any of you who want to know the subscription thing, I want to say it as fast as I can, because I want to get into the daily's topic. Whoa! Day 9 TV has a voluntary subscription service. If you go to the live page, Twitch TV/Day9TV, you may, if you would like, but you don't have to, you may donate $5 per month to support Day 9 TV. Not only do you get to play in things like the subscriber mana battles with me on Sundays, not only do you get the chance to be a part of all sorts of fun giveaways, which, by the way, there's going to be some of those coming up as well, but also you get a cool 9 in the chat. You have a 9 next to your name, and it's in yellow. What yellow? This yellow. In Day 9 yellow. FFA71A. Ha! But of course, if you just want to watch the show, then welcome. You are one of those beautiful people. And you know, there was a third thing I had to announce, and I forgot it, because I am just dumb. It's Terran Week! Whew! Thank God. Oh, that was close. It's Terran Week. Today we're going to be doing Terran vs. Terran. Wednesday is Terran vs. Zerg. And then Thursday, which is the day that comes after Wednesday, we're finally going to do that mech Terran versus Protoss thing, which I'm really excited about. That's right, the mech Terran versus Protoss. Ah, easy peasy. Now let us finally freaking hop into the topic of today's daily, which is Thorzain's Terran versus Terran. And I want to begin by saying the issue I have with mirror matchups. I have always had this issue with mirror matchups, and hopefully it's not just me. In non-mirror matchups, there are huge differences between the races. For instance, you can say something like, aha, Zerg cannot have speed for his Zerglings right now, therefore it is safe to scout. I can say something like, you can just say shit like that, alright? I don't need to do more examples. The races are different. Zergs struggle against air early on, because all they have are queens, so I should build air early on. There's this problem that happens in mirror matchups, though, where you can both do the same damn thing. I remember in Protoss vs. Protoss, way back when it was way, way faster warp gates. I'm talking, I think, was it 110 seconds for warp gate? It was so fast. So obviously 4-gate was the norm. So I developed this amazing Forge Expand build where I'd go 1 gate, Forge, Cannon, Expand, Cannon, Cannon, Cannon. And I could hold all sorts of stuff. Yeah! But the problem is that, what if my opponent didn't attack? What if he just scouted me building cannons and went, sweet, I'm expanding, and he expanded? Now I'm screwed. There's this huge problem that I have in situations like that. Or hell, even if I am in the mid-game and we have the exact same army, what do I do? That's going to be the big topic that we're going to address today, is what to do in the matchup in those mid and late game situations in Terran vs. Terran, how to chew apart your opponent's tank lines and get into a good spot. We're also going to look at Thorzain's amazing, wonderful, wubulous opening. But first, before we even look at Thorzain, let's look at EG's Puma. This is their game from the North American Star League Grand Final. And one question that I think is very important to ask yourself in life regularly is, what do I want? What do I really want? You know, what do I want to eat for dinner? You know what? I really want sushi. And I thought long and hard about that, so that's probably where I'm going to go. So let's say you are a Terran versus Terraner, and your question is, well, how the hell do I open? I want you to ask yourself, all the way down the line, what you want. I actually want you to just say out loud, picture the most beautiful, ideal set of Terran units and buildings. I want to have reactored starports. I want to have 2 factories with tech labs. I want to have, like, I don't know, 8 barracks, all with reactors churning out Marines. I want those upgrades. I want 3 bases. Just start stating those things that you want. And what we're going to see from Puma is that he's going to do a pretty reasonable opening. But I want you to just think of this in terms of, what do you want? Because it's so important to first be able to state the structure of what you want before you actually begin to optimize it. So we're first going to look at Puma's opening, which I think is pretty typical of Terran players, and then we're going to go ahead and look at Thorzain. So let's go ahead and hit ×4, because I'm sure as much as you love seeing SCVs get built, you even more so love command centers getting built. Okay, cool. We took an expansion. That's an opening. Now go back to your list of wants with Marines and tanks and upgrades and all that good stuff. Here's the barracks going down. Makes total sense. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves another barracks coming up here in a moment. So this is, I would say that this is the result of some problem solving. Great opening. Love it. Building 2 barracks early on so I can not only defend against some crazy Marine all-in shenaniganry, but also so maybe I can get a good amount of Marines and start whacking away at them myself. I'm going to go ahead and kill this production tab. So, well, hell, we want some upgrades for those Marines, so let's go ahead and start doing that. Of course, keep in mind that Puma, never going to forget any SCVs. We see those SCVs getting churned out right away once those orbital commands are done. But even though everything Puma is doing is spot on in terms of timing, and the timing is the hard part, still notice that I don't think there's anything that bloody sophisticated about this. And I did say bloody. That is an extra special shout out to all you wonderful British subscribers. Or just watchers. Sorry. Someone typed subscriber in the chat. And of course, just like when you're on the phone, when I'm texting someone and I'm talking at the same time, I always say out loud, what I see. The important thing is that British people don't say the letter T. They say British. Are we cool? Wonderful. There's nothing too bloody complicated about building a bunch of barracks. So cool. Well, you know, I want to get gas so I can start building those upgrades. Right, here it comes, here it comes. Boom! Combat shield. And you know, I remember watching this game at NASL thinking this is pretty normal. You know, I want to start getting more things that require gas, so I may as well just get another gas soon. Maybe I'll build a gas down there, something like that. But he's building Marines, looking good. When he has the money to, he'll start branching out into other things. Oh, look at that, there's a factory. It looks like probably want to get some stim. Probably want to get this factory up. There was a small engagement, but opening the units lost tab, Puma lost a Marine and an SCV. Nothing so good. Or nothing so bad, excuse me. Nothing so good as losing just 2 units. So at this point in the game, in other words, everything's going pretty typically. And I like this game because, or I like this opening from Puma in a very ultra basic sense, because he's just getting a bunch of barracks and starting Marines. And then he's just getting a starport and starting medevacs. And then he's just getting a factory and building tanks after that. And I want you to internalize how simple that is. I think anyone who's watching from Bronze to Grandmaster gets what that beautiful, perfect image is and could pull off an approximation of this. Maybe forgetting some supply depots would happen. Maybe forgetting some SCVs. But it's important that you at the very least get the right structure of units. Now here comes the key moment of drama in this game. Has Puma really forgotten any depots, or skipped out on his macro, or done anything wrong? No, not really. And right before this engagement, I'm going to open up the Units tab. Look at how stupidly insane this is. Alright? Thorzain has 50 Marines to Puma's 36. They both have the same medevac count. They effectively have the same SCV count. Thorzain, hell, even has a tank. More importantly, look at Puma, 0-0 Marines. Look at Thorzain, 1-0 Marines. What the hell did Thorzain do to just get so much more stuff? And it's not even a little bit more. It's like way, way freaking more. I mean, geez, 14 extra Marines? It's insane how many more Marines Thorzain has. And the upgrade. So I was watching this live. And here it comes. Boom. Crushing it. Just crushes all the SCVs. Continues in the engagement. 31-60. More Marines from Thorzain come in. And Thorzain actually just breaks the front. What? What? That's what I felt, because I remember I was casting this live with Marcus. I think our names are in there. Oh no, I think I was just NASL caster B. Marcus, he's like the A caster always. And that really blew my mind. Like really, it freaked me the hell out. Because there's nothing too bad that happened in Camp Puma. I mean, Puma did build these reactors. You know, maybe at a little bit of an awkward time, but I actually want to go over to Thorzain's base and point out that Thorzain has all those barracks with reactors. He is even getting a third command center earlier. Thorzain doesn't just have a unit lead, he has like a building lead. The only advantage Puma has is 1 extra racks. So what I want to do right now is come back, and for the remainder of part 1, what I want to do is admire this build that Thorzain does. And talk about how beautiful it is, how subtle it is, and most importantly, how easy it is. One thing that I want to do right now, while we're just rewatching Thorzain build his SCVs up, is to note how much it helps to avoid supply block. A lot of times people will experience supply block as, damn it, I'm like maybe 15 seconds behind because I forgot a depot. And it happens again, it's like 30 seconds behind total now. And I don't want you to think of it as, ooh, God, if I get supply blocked, I'm really screwed up, because I don't want you to feel punished. I view it as, if I avoid supply block, I hugely improve, like dramatically. If you just avoid getting supply blocked, you'll find yourself in battles like what Thorzain just had, where he just has like 50% more units. Really, really cool. So be really excited to avoid supply block, because I don't want you to think of it as, again, one of those like, oh God, I forgot to put my laundry into the dryer again. Ugh. You know, like one of those stupid chores that just brings you down and makes you sad. No, I want you to think of it as a wonderful, delightful, bright and shiny future. So again, the production tab is leaving off for now. Because I think that's a terrible idea. I'm turning it on. I'm torn. I don't know if I want to leave it up. I'll just leave it up. You guys are used to having it up. Freaking nerds. So, first thing that I love about Thorzain, no funny monkey business at the start of the game. Marine production, constant. Doesn't do anything weird like cut the supply depot. Just lets it build. Constant worker production.
Upgrade.
Repeatedly, I'm going to say, glance up at that production tab. And we are always going to see SCVs getting churned out. When he can afford it, he builds a command center. But still, non-stop Marines, still non-stop SCVs. Doing some smart things with the units. I don't give a shit. I don't want to think about units. I want to think buildings. I love buildings. Oh, God. It reminds me of needing to go get some Legos. Those things ruled. So, right off the bat, I see a second barracks from Thorzain. And I'm like, all right, cool. He probably wants to go for some sort of Marine based opening. He builds 1 gas geyser, but here's an interesting thing that he does. He's going to build a second gas geyser right off the bat, and immediately my spider sense told me this guy is going to be teching up to a factory real early. Why on earth would you get 2 geysers that early on? You just don't really need that much gas to go Marine Marauder early. Glance up here, constant SCV production. Cool. Now, I've watched about 10 games of Thorzain doing this exact strategy. Check this out. Both reactors, 2 in the gas. And it's going to stay that way for a while. I'm talking like 5 minutes. 2 in the gas, each. Not 3, 2, not 1. And not 2 because he messed up consistently on 16 pairs of geysers across 8 games. No, 2 because it just happens to line up right. Now, you might think something like, well, first of all, it's reasonable to say, why not just take 1 geyser and put 3 in there? And the answer is that 4 is more than 3. Cool. It's good. It's a good thing I go through this. It's a good thing I'm here to help. Thank God. Anyways, so, but another reasonable question is why not put 3 in both geysers and just have a little bit of extra gas? Why not do that? And the answer is, if you think of an SCV mining 40 minerals per minute, by leaving 2 out, that's about 80 minerals per minute extra he's getting. That's almost a +1 upgrade, almost stim, almost combat shield. And watch the way Thorzain's economy times itself. I love it. This is so cool. Still just constantly building SCVs. Constant, constant, constant. Alright, barracks number 1, gonna finish it. Or barracks number 2 finishing up. And look, right when it finishes, he just barely has more than 50 gas. This barracks, this 3rd barracks, is actually this SCV. I love that as part of the build. Is this being part of the build? I mean, it makes it obvious. You don't even have to remember the timing. You're just like, well, when he's done building the barracks, I just have him build another barracks. Come on.
Additional supply depots.
He actually messed this up. He actually did have this build it in every other game, but of course, I choose the best possible example game first. So there's the 3rd barracks coming up right when this one finishes. First reactor with the gas, and then on this barracks, he gets a tech lab. Look at this. 2 in gas. 2 in gas. Cool. Cool stuff. Sending his Marines around, doing very Marinely things. It doesn't look all that complex, but look how the economy times itself. How much gas? 100. Just barely enough for combat shield. So boom, look at this. Combat shield gets started. He's actually quite a ways ahead of Puma at this point already. I mean, Puma, who's getting a really damn fast combat shield, is still slightly behind Thorzain. Cool stuff. Very, very cool. Still building SCVs nonstop, not missing a depot in sight. And now producing Marines 3 at a time. Lovely. I'm going to speed things up a little bit. Are you noticing that there's still 2 in each geyser? Cool. Cool. So cool. This guy instantly gets another reactor. So, I mean, it's been pretty basic. It's barracks, barracks, gas, gas, and then 2 in the gas. Build a reactor when I can. Build a tech lab when I can. Build this 3rd barracks after the 2nd barracks, and then a reactor when it can. And look, his minerals and gas are a little bit high, but not hugely. And look at this, he's just going to throw down an engineering bay. And right around the time you throw down this engineering bay is when he starts to think about putting guys back in the gas. This is a pattern we'll see pop up a lot. So literally, as he has the gas to do it, he's going to build a factory. Pretty easy, to be honest. Has never missed an SCV. Has never missed a round of Marine production. If we come to the unit station, we see that Thorzain, Puma, despite building 4 barracks right off the bat, is still behind Thorzain. Still frickin' behind in that Marine count. It's nuts to me that this build actually exists. And here, boom, another gas geyser going down. 2, 2. He actually should put these guys back in gas right now. He actually doesn't have enough gas to build this infantry +1 weapon and to get this stim upgrade. But again, right around the time that you're putting the engineering bay down, a little while later, I'd pop them into gas. There we go. Now we have 3 mining. And now we have this extra refinery going. Yeah, alright.
Research complete.
Stim's gonna get started. Come on. Come on, Thorzain. Come on. Come on. Doesn't build a bunker, has no need for a bunker. Why? Because he has way more Marines than you do. Guzh. Stim. Guzh. Has himself that plus upgrade. And I love doing the compare and contrast in a game like this. Look at this. We see Puma is just now getting Geyser 2 down and is just now getting his factory down. and has just started stim. Thorzain is slightly ahead on stim, has already started +1, has a factory finished, has 3 gas geysers, has more marines, and has these ridiculously time-costly reactors done already, and is producing marines 5 at a time versus Puma's 4 at a time. Everything's better. Everything's freaking incredibly good, alright? Now, I have not talked about any sort of goals or strategy or any of that BS. All I've really done is talk about how much of a huge badass Thorzain is, and I've reviewed all the key pieces to the build. So that way you can steal it up too. Yay! Or I guess I should say so. You and me can steal it. And I will. I see no reason not to. Thorzain has never missed a depot, never forgotten an SCV under any circumstance. Are you going to be forgotten? No, absolutely not. And one thing that I also just, as a general note, really like, there's periods like this where you'll have kind of a lot of money, and you might freak out and go, ooh, I have money. I'm going to build 2 more barracks. I'm going to build a command center. But you have to be really careful when that's close to the end of a production cycle. Thorzain's so good at this. See, look, boom, building the medevacs, and his money's going to continue to dwindle, and in a second he's actually going to complete this upgrade, and he's going to end up spending it right back down again. So you can actually see Thorzain ends up not quite having his money at 500. It briefly touches 500 and then plummets right back down again as these production cycles wrap up. And once he starts some siege tanks, we're going to see it, dwindle even more. So literally the last step of all of this was getting that factory and that siege mode started. First, he wanted to get the starport and his double medevac production out. And when they both finish, one last bit of, oh my god, Thorzain is so good. Notice that the medevacs are coming out and Thorzain is moving out right before +1 weapons is done. And then we're going to see this amazing attack occur. And the stim and crushing defeat. What have we accomplished thus far in part 1 of this 3-part daily? We've figured out that Thorzain is probably better than we are. He has an incredible opening that we've gotten the chance to review. What we haven't touched on is the big questions of what to do in the mid and late game, how to position everything. My favorite way to state it is we don't know where to find our edge. What we're going to be doing in part 2 and 3 is watching the remainder of this game and then watching 2 more games of Thorzain for a grand total of 3, because 1 + 2 is oftentimes 3. Thank God for day 9. And in these positions, we're going to see the way that Thorzain plays so magnificently in those stages. I'm going to go on a break. Let's listen to some Ludique, you guys. Yeah!